welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making a raspberry truffle brownies to get us in the mood and in the vibes for Valentine's Day. So for this recipe, it's gonna be in like two parts, the brownie batter and then a raspberry filling for after. So for the first part, the ingredients that we'll need are pretty easy, just basic brownie ingredients. We'll need flour, brown sugar, a stick of butter, 2 eggs, a good amount of chocolate chips, baking powder, and then also some instant coffee granules that you just dissolve in hot water. Let's get started.
Wait, I'm cracking my knuckles.
Okay. The first thing I'm gonna do is put 1 stick of butter in a bowl, and we're gonna melt it with chocolate chips. And then we'll need 1 1/4 cups of chocolate chips. Oh no! Those are the ones you get to eat. All right, 1 cup and 1/4 cup. So now this goes in the microwave for 30-second increments until it's smooth. You don't want to put it in the microwave for too long at a time. That's happened to me and your chocolate will burn. First 30 seconds. Okay, our first set of 30 seconds is up. And we've made no progress. Oh, actually we did make some progress. So now we're just gonna keep doing that until it's basically melted. Just keep stirring it, it'll come.
The butter looks like that because you have a chocolate milk butter.
That sounds good. Okay, so I only did this for about 3 30-second increments, so like 1.5 minutes, and we've got like a hot fudge consistency almost. I'm just gonna sit here and cool slightly next to my Valentine's decoration. And we're gonna get started on our next step. So we're gonna beat 2 eggs with some brown sugar. We need 3/4 cup of brown sugar. And we're gonna crack 2 eggs. I'm gonna do my little one-handed bit. Again.
How'd you learn to do that?
Practice, watching cooking shows, film my no eggshell.
No eggshell.
Yippee! And now we're gonna beat these until it's well blended. Okay, so I just have been beating for like 30 seconds and now you can see the egg and the brown sugar are all combined, so that's good. Now our next ingredient is a teaspoon of coffee granules, like you know the instant coffee granules, and we're gonna dissolve it in 2 tablespoons of water. So I already did that. It smells so nice and strong. 2 tablespoons. Well, that's not accurate.
Was the whole thing 2 tablespoons?
I'm guessing. We're gonna beat that in. And now we're gonna beat in our wonderful chocolate. That looks like good brownie batter.
Oh wow. But this is still all the wet ingredients. Ooey gooey.
Alrighty, so we have our wet ingredients mixture for our brownie batter. This is our chocolate spoon that we now get to lick. Do you want a lick?
I'm good. It's like chocolate and butter. It's literally chocolate and butter.
So we're gonna set that aside and get started on our dry ingredients. So we're gonna need 3/4 cup of flour. This recipe has a lot of like quarter measurements, so at least you only get 1 thing dirty. If this is a 1/4 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder. That would have been funny.
You can use just 2/4.
That's actually true. And 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder goes in. Okay, so now we have our beautiful chocolate mixture, which just looks super good and fudgy
And decadent.
and decadent, thank you. And then our flour mixture. Now you might be wondering, like, that's not a lot of flour at all for this much of the chocolate mixture. And the reason is, when you're making brownies, the amount of flour you add into your brownies affects how fudgy versus how cakey it is. So if we have a lot of flour, it's gonna result in a more cakier brownie. But the less flour you add, it's gonna be fudgier. So I'm guessing this recipe is gonna make a really fudgy brownie, which I'm fine with because that's how I prefer my brownies anyways. We're just gonna add our flour mixture into our chocolate mixture. And we're gonna fold that in until it's combined.
It looks very fudgy.
All right, so we have all of our flour into the brownie batter. This looks super, super fudgy, which is just how I like my brownies. We're gonna put it in our pan, but first I'm gonna preheat the oven to 350. Pan.
We're not sponsored.
We're just gonna put some cooking spray on a 9x9-inch baking pan. Now we just add in our brownie batter. Fudgy, fudgy. Fudgy, fudgy, call the judgy. We're just gonna spread this out evenly in the pan. Get all those corners. Now we lick the beaters until the oven finishes preheating. Chocolate! So we have our delicious brownie batter and we're gonna be putting this in the oven for 30 minutes at 350. So it's been 30 minutes in the oven and now we're gonna check our brownies for doneness. Okay, let's check. I think that's good. You don't want to over bake your brownies because you want them to be still nice and fudgy. Oh my goodness. You see that like cracked crust? Brownies need to have that. These have to cool until we can even get started on our raspberry filling, which is going to be part 2. So we'll be back when it cools. Alrighty, so it's about like an hour later. I let my brownies here fully cool down, and now we're gonna just invert this onto this tray. Yay! And that's our brownie. So cute. This is our brownie. Yummy. And now we're gonna get started on our raspberry topping. So all I did off camera was microwave 1 cup of chocolate chips in 45-second intervals. And now we have melted chocolate. Oh, why did I jiggle that? And while this just cools slightly, we're gonna get started on beating a couple things together. So we have 1 package, 8 ounces of cream cheese, and just make sure it's softened so that you can beat it very well. Cream cheese. And then we need a 1/4 cup of confectioner sugar. Again with the 1/4 cups, oh my goodness. 1/4 cup. And we're just gonna beat the cream cheese and the powdered sugar until smooth. So we have our cream cheese and powdered sugar nice and smooth. And now we're gonna beat in our raspberry jam. It has to be seedless. Sometimes if you get raspberry preserves, it still has seeds and you don't want to like bite into that. We're just gonna need 1/3 cup. No, our 1/4 cup streak is over. And we're just gonna beat that in. Ooh, so pretty, oh my goodness. That looks nice and smooth. What a pretty pink color. Perfect for Valentine's Day, I feel like. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Now we're gonna add in our beautiful melted chocolate. Valentine's Day is all about that chocolate. Now we're just gonna fold in our melted chocolate. Ooh. It's giving chocolate covered raspberry. This is a really nice marbly look to it right now for my topping, and I think I'm just gonna leave it as a nice like marbly swirl so we can still have some of the pink. Let me get my brownies. Yummy, yummy. And now let's top our brownies. I'm so excited. The taste of the chocolate and raspberry is really good together.
It reminds me of like the chocolate that like I'll get from like a box of chocolates that like has the raspberry filling inside.
That's why it's called Raspberry Truffle Brownies. It's like the perfect name. Okay, so we have our topping on top of our brownie, and the very, very last step to this recipe is to make a glaze. Okay, last step is our glaze. All we need is a tablespoon of butter, this much. It's just like a pat of butter, and a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. And guess what we're gonna do with this?
Microwave interval. Interval 1.
Yep.
Interval 2. 3rd time's a charm.
There we go. 3rd time's a charm. All right, so we have our chocolate drizzle, and we're gonna go ahead and drizzle it on here. Okay, God bless us all.
Get your abstract going.
My abstract art going. Alrighty, so we have our brownies all drizzled up. Let's make it cute by adding some sprinkles. Which one should we add?
That looks really good.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. We have our abstract Valentine's Raspberry Truffle Brownies. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this recipe if you try it, and I hope that you share it with your loved ones on Valentine's Day. And thank you so much.